Hello, and welcome to the Comdata webinar, Enhanced Authorization Controls for Fleets, Best Practices for Managing Risk. The first step in enhancing your account controls is to set transaction limits as you're setting up your cards. These limits determine the maximum number of allowed transactions that can occur per day, per driver, or per card. These limits should complement the needs of your drivers. For example, if your driver needs to fuel once in the morning and once in the evening, setting a limit of 2 transactions per day is a good starting point. However, you may also want to consider building flexibility into these limits to accommodate emergency situations. When setting your limits, you can also choose to set email alerts for transactions so that you are notified instantly via email when your drivers are close to hitting the transaction limit or have already hit the limit. This instant notification means that you can monitor your account easily and closely and quickly identify potential fraud. Your second step is to set dollar amount limits to reflect your anticipated spend per driver, per card, or per day. Setting dollar amount limits is similar to setting transaction limits. By reviewing what you expect your drivers to spend, you can then set a dollar amount limit to reflect that amount. For example, if your driver fuels at $100 per transaction and fills up twice a day, $200 would be a good starting point for setting this limit. Again, you may want to consider building flexibility into this limit to accommodate emergency situations. Like transaction limits, you can set instant email notifications to alert you whenever you have hit your limit or are close to hitting it, allowing you to keep a close watch on your account activity and to immediately learn of any suspicious behavior. The third best practice we'd like to share is to really understand your fuel types. Which types of fuel do you want your drivers to purchase? Are they purchasing the most effective and cost-effective fuels for your company? You can pull exception reports through Comdata to identify which types of fuel your drivers are purchasing, and then set alerts to notify you when they purchase outside of that fuel type, which could be a sign of fraudulent activity on your account. For example, if your drivers should only be purchasing diesel fuel, you may choose to receive an alert when regular or unleaded fuel is purchased. When you receive this type of alert, you may want to further investigate the transaction on which it occurred. Number 4 is understanding your decline activity. Declines can show when someone is attempting to use a card outside of the parameters you have set for it, but they do not always indicate fraud, as there are multiple reasons a card may be declined, such as miskeying a PIN number. However, it is important to take decline activity seriously, as too many declines or certain types can be a red flag that suspicious activity is occurring, or that you need to reevaluate limits on each card. You can pull reports through Comdata to understand which types of declines are occurring and to examine decline patterns, and then set alerts to notify you when declines happen. Your fifth step is to set up strong driver ID numbers. Never assign the vehicle number or driver name as the ID prompt used on your cards. This makes it easy for an unauthorized user to steal your information and access your account, so be sure to assign individual card holders their own unique prompting IDs. Take advantage of advanced reporting to better understand how your cards are being used and by which IDs, so that you'll be able to recognize when suspicious behavior is happening in your account. Finally, search your account reports for patterns of card activity by driver, by vehicle, and by route. Any obvious changes in patterns may be a sign of fraud, so maintain familiarity with how your cards are being used and what normal use looks like. In review, set transaction and dollar amount limits to reflect normal card usage for your drivers. Understand the fuel types you want your drivers to use and decline activity that occurs on your account so that you'll be able to recognize when something unusual or suspicious happens on one of your cards. Control driver prompts to reduce the risk that an unauthorized user can steal a driver PIN or ID number, and continuously monitor your card activity for patterns, which will help you see when something out of the ordinary has happened on your account. Following these best practices can help you manage your fuel spend and reduce the risk of fraud on your account. To learn more about Comdata's enhanced authorization controls for fleets, please visit us at comdata.com or contact your Comdata representative. Thank you for your interest in this presentation.